we had the Iranian axis for Israel, and now we have a new axis, which is Turkey and Syria, and maybe the Turkish influence in Sudan and, the Horn of Africa, the North Africa region. Do you think that Turkey has the same aspirations as Iran, ideological aspirations to wipe out Israel off of the map?
I think that your question is more about President Erdoğan and less Turkey. President Erdoğan is a Muslim Brotherhood leader, and as a Muslim Brotherhood leader, he dislikes Israel, and he would like that Hamas, even not the Palestinian Authority, that Hamas will lead all Israel or Palestine or whatever you will call it. Iran used terrorist organizations like the Houthis, Ansar Allah, Hezbollah, and Hamas, of course, but they are not the countries. They are not the classic countries. Even Bashar Assad, he was more pro-Russian rather than pro-Iranian. But now you have the Somali government that they are totally a puppet of Turkey. You have the Syrian government that they are totally puppet of Turkey. So Turkey used governments as their own tools rather than classic organizations, terrorist organization in this case.
Hello and welcome to our podcast East to West, and today we're going to talk about the geopolitical status of the state of Israel after 2 years of war. And to talk about that, we have here Dean Shmuel Elmas, the geopolitical analyst for Globes magazine. Hello.
Hello, Balig.
All right, so 2 years of war, definitely a lot happened in many fronts. How do you define the Israeli geopolitical status in the world right now?
I guess that the Israel government first and foremost understood that we are not a villa in the jungle anymore. We are maybe forest in a jungle, but totally not a villa. We saw so many angles maybe of what happened. Even if speaking about Israel, saw what happened in Lebanon. Hezbollah still have huge problems because of the Israeli attacks and what happened
problems inside Lebanon.
In Hezbollah, Lebanon is a huge problem as itself, but Hezbollah suffered huge blows to his leadership, his military leadership as well. In Gaza, we know what happened to Hamas. I think that the Israeli attack in Qatar gave a great example about how Israel changed his own attitude. If I could tell you before October 7th, 2023, that Israel will attack in Doha, you could tell me, listen, you are insane, and you were right, but things happened.
And do you think that was for the good or for the bad?
For both, because all the Gulf countries didn't like this action. They truly liked the Israeli attacks on Iran last June. They liked what Israel did to Hamas because of the connection to the Muslim Brotherhood, Hezbollah as well. But when you attack inside the Gulf, it's totally different from
their own. It's like an adversary. It's an enemy, also a foe for Saudi Arabia, for Kuwait, for other Gulf states, after all.
Right, but still, from their own perspective, you won't attack a Gulf country on Gulf land. And the different angle, it's what happened on December 2024 in Syria. Israel understood that Turkey is not longer a third round of country like Iran. They are on the Israeli border. And from my own perspective, Ashara or Abu Muhammad al-Julani is totally a puppet leader of Turkey.
Many people are saying right now that we had the Iranian axis for Israel, and now we have a new axis, which is Turkey and Syria, and maybe the Turkish influence in Sudan and, the Horn of Africa, the North Africa region. Is this true? I mean, do you think that Turkey has the same aspirations as Iran, ideological aspirations to wipe out Israel off of the map?
I think that your question is more about President Erdoğan and less Turkey. President Erdoğan is a Muslim Brotherhood leader, and as a Muslim Brotherhood leader, he dislikes Israel, and he would like that Hamas, even not the Palestinian Authority, that Hamas will lead all Israel or Palestine or whatever you will call it. I think that Turkey has strategy than Iran. Iran used terrorist organizations like the Houthis, Ansar Allah, and Hamas, of course, and Hezbollah, but they are not the countries. They are not the classic countries. Even Bashar Assad, he was more pro-Russian rather than pro-Iranian. But now you have the Somali government that they are totally a puppet of Turkey. You have the Syrian government that they are totally puppet of Turkey. So Turkey used governments as their own tools rather than classic organizations, terrorist organization in this case.
And this whole geopolitical change is happening while Israel is still in the mindset of an island nation, a nation that is surrounded by countries that either have cold peace with it or don't have any relations with it. Are we still in the same situation? I mean, after, what the Houthis have done to the maritime routes in the Red Sea, for example, and also the opportunities that opened with the Indians, the India, Middle East, European corridor, how Israel is, doing right now with all of these changes?
I would like to emphasize something that I think that the most of people didn't figure out during the war. Because of the Iranian attacks, we saw different regional countries that used their own air defenses to help Israel. Jordan, that we have bilateral relations with Jordan, but also we saw how the Saudis helped with radars, and this is what happened in this case is that General Kurila, he is the former CENTCOM commander. Worked on this issue for about 3 or 4 years, and we saw how it was helpful. So in this case, we should understand that you have two main kinds of relations in the Middle East. First is the classic one, like we saw in Abraham Accords, or even before in the 90s with Jordan. The different angle is the military relations that Iran helped Israel to become closer to Saudi Arabia, to all the regional main actors, because each of every actor, like the Saudis, like the Emiratis, they didn't like Iran maybe more than Israel. IMAC is an initiative that would like to connect all the transportation, the communications, the electricity, the AI.
Also including AI, because everybody thought that IMAC is only a corridor, a physical corridor from India to Europe.
Also physical corridor of data centers. AI is the biggest consumer of energy. And if you would like to make yourself as the Saudis, for example, they would like to be the hub, the regional, maybe the worldwide hub of AI. You've got to improve your energy resources, and therefore AI and energy and communications, of course, because of the data centers. This is one of the main reasons why the Saudis need and truly wants this IMEC initiative. The Israeli economy is totally an island economy. We depend on the sea, and if something happened, like the Houthis' actions in the Red Sea, it confused all the Israeli international trade, and therefore you've got to think how you will diversify your own routes, and land routes is a great tool.
And is Israel doing that?
If we will take European actors like Italy or France, they hired a classic ambassador for IMEC. Mm-hmm. And Israel has got no ambassador. You have minister of this or that. They are
Minister of Regional Cooperation.
Minister of Regional Cooperation, of course, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Minister of Economy, etc. But nobody that truly works on IMEC, and this is very, very bad for the Israeli interest.
The Israeli government is not,
focused
on this. They're not making a big deal of it, and you think they should?
They make big deal, but because of internal political interests of each of every minister, nobody truly work on this issue. This is also a great interest for UAE, the Saudis, and of course Jordan, that Jordan suffer huge economic crisis right now, and this is a great way to fix that. I don't see any way that the Saudis will normalize the relations with Israel in the near future, but because of Prime Minister Modi, regional power, and great relations, by the way, also with the Saudis, we might see the IMAC will happen in the near future.
Minister said that in the past year or so, there has been lots of work on the IMAC project, even during the war.
I spoke with the Indian industry minister recently, like I'm sitting with you right now. I asked him, what are the obstacles? Why nothing happened? He told me, Dean, honestly, there are no obstacles because we didn't reach them yet. So we are, I think, still in phase 1, and the IMAC maybe is like phase 10. So it will take a while.
You just mentioned India and the enormous cooperation that we're seeing between Israel and India recently. Why is that specifically? Why the Indians? I mean, we're talking about a nation that is a bit far away from Israel, and it hasn't been in the Israeli sphere the past decades.
India became, the fourth biggest economy in the world last year, and they make a massive economy, great work in Modi. 10 years, even 11 years right now. I can give example of Make in India initiative. It was one of the main cases for how Israel became so close. And this is because of the defense industries. The defense industries, the Israeli, of course, understood that if you will go with Modi, you will reach a massive amount of money. So from then on, we saw how the relations improved in all of the cases, but it became from the defense industries and companies such as Helbit, Rafael, IAI, you can mention whatever you want. Almost all of them already have factories inside India.
And can the Indians help Israel with their relationship with our world, for example, because India is also close to Iran, after all?
You mentioned the Indian-Iranian relations. They are operating one of the main ports in Iran, Chaba port.
Yes.
I think that India is not the way to normalize, for example, with the Saudis. I think that India is a great economic tool. Let's see what happened last May. Between India and Pakistan, India used huge amounts of Israeli missiles, air defenses, so on and so forth. They made a great job over there. So this is more about economics and less diplomatic issues.
Yes. So if we want to summarize the region, Turkey, Israel should be cautious of it. Of course, Syria.
By the way, Prime Minister Modi is the one and only reason why Turkey is out of the IMAC. He told President Biden on 2023, I won't go to IMAC with Erdoğan. And why is that? Because of Pakistan. Erdoğan is the best friend of Pakistan, so he doesn't want to work with him.
Let's recap. Turkey is something that Israel should be cautious of, or more than that word. The Iranian axis, would you say that is already behind Israel?
The axis,
challenge?
Right? But I'm pretty sure that in few months we will see another escalation between Israel and Iran, direct escalation, without proxies. Because why Iran used proxies? They used proxies to hurt Israel without any blows inside Iran. Mm-hmm. But last June we saw what happened, and because of the Iranian improvement in the missile program, again, I'm pretty sure that in the very near future, like months, we will see another direct escalation.
So Iran and Iranian axis is still a challenge. That's what you're saying. And in terms of opportunities, definitely the Saudis, definitely the Gulf states, and also India, as you mentioned. But if we zoom out a little bit and talk about the world stage and where Israel is standing, After all, we're seeing a decline in Israel popularity in the U.S., and this is something that is very important for Israel, especially after 2 years of war. And we've seen what happened with Europeans, with Arab nations, with
the American universities, of course.
Pretty much everyone. So do you think that Israel should look somewhere else? China, Russia? I mean, Prime Minister Netanyahu always brags about his relationship with Putin, but how reasonable is it that Israel could actually build a relationship such as the one that it has with the Americans, with other nations, with other superpowers?
Israel should has relations with Russia, with China, with everybody. The point is, who are your ally? Russia can't be your ally. Russia helped the Iranian nuclear program. Without Russia, there were no nuclear issue in Iran.
But you don't think they can flip? I mean, the Russians have flipped from supporting Assad to now at least, gaggling or talking with the Ahmadinejad after all.
I don't see President Putin as a true friend of Israel. I can give the European classic example that President Trump tried over and over again to make a peace between Ukraine and Russia. And if you will open the Russian TV, you will see how they want to conquer all Europe. So is it your friend? I don't think so. I think that the biggest threat, the worldwide threat right now is China. And therefore, President Trump tried to manipulate and operate some peace pacts all over the world, Africa, Europe, whatever. Because he tried to put all his conscience on China. This is what is going on right now. And also, we can see it through the Israeli defense industries that so many Asia-Pacific countries buy huge amounts of the air defenses or other things. Maybe also Japan will do it very soon. Again, China won't be our friend.
So you think that China is also a threat for us?
I think that China is the biggest threat for all the Western world because of their own strategy, obviously. So if we can't trust Russia and we can't trust China, and our very good and old ally is the US, we should improve how can we represent ourselves better inside the US, and this is the one and only way that Israel can handle, because we can't leave the US for Russia.
So you think that Israel doesn't have an alternative for the U.S.?
Not really, honestly. Again, one of the Israeli main mistakes is how Israel put all the Israeli-U.S. relations with the Republicans. The Republicans are great threats of Israel, but we can't leave, the Democrats, because this is the last term of President Trump.
If you ask him.
That's maybe, but on the papers, this is the last one. And therefore, maybe we will see another new Democratic president. Can you trust just the Republicans? Not really. We should work also with the Democrats and through the Congress, of course, to improve our relations and tell the Democrats, listen, we are the friends of you like we are the friends of the Republicans, because it was a bit confusing after the first term of President Trump. And we saw what it made with the Biden term, that the Democrats and the Vice President Harris was not the classic pro-Israeli leader in the Washington.
The Israeli government has put the eggs in one basket, which is the Republicans.
Yes, and they've got to, again, to diversify it.
Yes.
Like
and if we're
50,
talking about the relationship with the U.S., something that is straining this relationship and making it more stressing is the issue of the U.S. military aid to Israel. Although we're talking about 3.8, more or less, yes, $3.8 billion a year, and it's invested actually in American companies, but still the left see this as an immoral step, and the Republicans or the MAGA movement seeing that it's in contrast with the America First. Do you think that it's time to give up on this military aid?
not give up, but change the way that the aid works, because this is funding, the classic funding. Take $3.8 billion and pay with it. One of the main issues right now in the negotiations between Israel and the US, because the current pact will expire on 2028. This is for sure. And then you've got to understand what you want. And I think that the only way to improve that for the next 10 years will be collaborations between the Israeli defense companies and the US companies. Because if you want to work with the President Trump administration, you've got to think make America great again or America first. And the only way to work with that is through collaborations.
So changing the mindset from being
from funding, from take money,
from being
to let's work together.
Exactly. All right, and maybe we finished with this, but this is very important. How do you see the future for the geopolitical stance of Israel? I mean, what do policymakers in Israel neglect, something that you think that they should focus more on? And also the best case scenario for Israel for the coming decade, I mean, in terms of their geopolitical position in this region?
The way that I think that will fix almost everything is through the triangle with Greece and Cyprus. The main threat of Greece and Cyprus is Turkey. And Turkey became, from my own opinion, the biggest threat for Israel through Syria and through the way that Turkey hosted Hamas leaders in Istanbul. So if Israel will improve the collaborations with Greece and Cyprus, if it's through the electricity interconnector through the sea or other projects, it will be the best, because I'm pretty sure that if Egypt, for example, will see that this triangle work, they will try to be part of that rather than the current status that they try to improve their own relations with Turkey. And this is the way to improve all the Israeli position in our region.
With that note, we can finish this podcast. Very interesting. Thank you so much, Dean, for all of these informations about where Israel is standing right now in terms of their geopolitical status. Thank you so much for being with us here.
Thank you, Balig.